I do want to bring in our next guest to help break down what we are seeing play out right now over the skies of Israel. So let's bring in right now Andrea Stricker from FDD. Thanks so much for joining us here. Such a fast notice. We appreciate that, given everything that is happening. First off, I just would like to get your thoughts on what we are seeing right now.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I think what we're seeing is an unprecedented attack by Israel against Iran and Iran's expected retribution and counterattack. And while the Israeli Iron Dome defense system will likely shoot down many of the missiles, we can expect that a small percentage will likely get through Israeli airspace. We can expect that the IDF will focus mostly on any that might be headed for major military targets or civilian population centers.
Yeah, and as we take some look here of the images, it looked like at least one made impact, and we were seeing it really play out right here on Live Now from Fox. And this really comes at a time when just yesterday, with the strikes that were happening to Iran, they came out and said that there would be retaliation, and now we are seeing that play out. Was there any moment of that it would happen maybe this quickly, or was there some thought it could go into the weekend and we would see this type of retaliation?
I think we expected that Iran would act as soon as possible, given the extent of Israel's attack. Just hours ago, we had confirmation that one of its key uranium enrichment facilities was hit, the above-ground pilot plant at Natanz. And recently, the Esfahan Nuclear Center, the IDF confirmed, which is the site of a uranium conversion facility and houses some of Iran's highly enriched uranium stocks. So I think combined with the nuclear facilities, the scientists, the military commanders, and all the other missile and military-related sites and assets, we would expect Tehran to act as soon as possible, if only to try to prevent additional attacks.
And tell me about Israel's intelligence. It seemed like for the last 3 hours or so, they knew that some sort of attack would be happening. They put out the messages there to the residents. Tell me how that all gets unfolded and they're able to really put that messaging out there before it's too late.
I was in Israel recently, and they have a very loud air siren, which we hear on the news all the time. And that goes off, and you hear it among all the cities and population centers that need to take shelter. There's also alerts on apps that let people know that there's rocket or missile attack coming. And it gives people about 90 seconds to get to shelter. And that's really the key time when any direct hits would be expected, or any type of shrapnel that could be falling from the skies onto civilian centers.
And so many people, of course, want to know what is going to happen next. What will be the response from Israel? It seemed like already earlier today that there was more targeted strikes out in Iran. What can we expect this weekend? It seems like it's a very, very up in the air moment here. High tensions continuing to play out.
I believe we will see more sites attacked, especially nuclear sites. We could see additional missile and military-related sites hit, additional assassinations of key people and leadership. This is really a decapitatory strike against the military and nuclear programs, and it will attempt to prevent Tehran from responding, from gathering itself, really, and doing any serious further damage to Israel.
Yeah, it seems like for Israel, if you have this moment to strike Iran, that you better, when you strike, you better hit those targets and you better make sure that these people are wiped out, because you don't want them to continue to try to plan against you in ways that would be horrible, that could continue to play out. So how much pressure is on Israel? I mean, it seems like from their attacks and strikes yesterday that it was very targeted. We saw what would happen at some of the residential buildings where it wasn't the whole building that was wiped out. It was just a couple of floors where exactly they knew where these people were.
Right. The Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency, has really penetrated Iran, and that was on full display and is still on full display. They have the locations of people's homes, and they're able to send very targeted missiles and strikes right into people's apartment buildings. So I think they're sending a message that working for the Tehran regime, working as a nuclear scientist, a missile commander for the IRGC, is a very dangerous position to hold right now.
And tell me about, what do you think the residents right now of Israel, not the ones that are with the military, but just the everyday working Israelis, what are they thinking here at this moment of, once again, seeing these images above their skies?
Israelis unfortunately are all too used to this. They've been dealing with this since even before the October 7th attacks. And they rush to shelter, from my experience, but then people go on as usual about their business as soon as the warnings are over. I think that unfortunately people, young children, elderly folks, are in for the long haul on this one and will be sent to shelters for the next several days, on and off, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's just the terrible part there of that, just not knowing when another strike could happen, or barrage of strikes. Just looking at what we are seeing right now, I want to go back out here live to the images that we are seeing. And just from a look of it as of right now, it didn't seem like that barrage lasted too long. It didn't seem like there was too many out in the sky. But again, what is your take on the latest strikes here from Iran to Israel? It didn't seem like it was that overwhelming.
I think that's to be expected. What we may see is Tehran will launch waves of drones and missiles and progressively try to overwhelm the Israeli defense system and try to get some direct hits. But again, Jerusalem is going to focus on hitting down the ones that are most destructive and that would take out key facilities or population centers and really terrorize the people or do damage to Israel's military response.
Yeah, because it looked like this strike was really centered in on Tel Aviv. Just tell our viewers why Tel Aviv would be an impact zone for Iran.
Iran may want to hit Tel Aviv. It's the largest population center, bustling city, and it has the most people that would be going into shelters. And certainly Tehran has tried to hit in the past. They've mostly had success only with shrapnel. And I would expect, given the severity of Israel's attack, that Tel Aviv could be on the target list. And likely they may not be successful, but that remains to be seen.
A new update here from the IDF saying that the Iranian attack is ongoing. Dozens of additional missiles were launched toward Israel. And again, we are going to be looking towards the sky here for any other signs here of these strikes that could be coming. When that messaging does go out, how fast are people already taking to the shelters or already there?
I would expect that if there was just an alert prior to this, that they are already in shelters, and they usually have that 90 seconds to get down there. And so you'll see people really hustling and running with their kids, helping elderly people get to shelter. They usually want to get at least under a rooftop or several floors below ground, and even go into apartment complexes or shops if necessary. So I would expect that people are mostly safe at this point, and they're very well versed in having to take this kind of quick action.
Hearing the headlines from yesterday almost played out like a real-life Mission Impossible when we were learning from Israel that Iran was getting closer to nuclear capability and that they were making huge waves in that. And then seeing really the fast pace here of those strikes from Israel. But how long do you think that those attacks from Israel to Iran were planned? Because, it looked very calculated.
I would expect that these attacks were planned for many months, if not longer. Israel had been looking at various options apart from dropping massive bombs or launching missiles at nuclear sites. They've been looking at covert sabotage efforts, so using explosives to blow up facilities from the inside, sabotaging the electrical systems, getting into the supply chains essentially as well. So I would expect that when the dust settles, we'll find out more about these operations, which in the past have generally been extremely inventive, and Mossad is clearly well penetrated into Tehran.
Yeah, we saw just some of that yesterday. I mean, really just played out like if you were watching an action movie. But again, we know that this is real life with real life implications right now. Continuing a live look right now as we look to the skies to see if there is any more incoming missile attack barrages that could be coming, drone attacks as well. And we saw in the past here when Iran and Israel exchanged fire from each other, and Iran seemed like they talk up a big game, but then when their retaliation came, it did not seem like it played out the way that they did. Does that happen a lot for Iran? Because it seemed like the last time they got pretty much exposed.
Right. I believe that Israel is using the element of surprise quite well, and using covert sabotage, especially going after key leadership, nuclear scientists. And it really does decapitate the decision-making apparatus. So you have to shift decision-making to the next rung of people. And in some cases, it really slows down the counter-response. And creates a lot of confusion and upheaval in the leadership and the decision-making system.
There we go. Well, Andrea, thanks so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox during this really active and breaking news mode that is happening right now over Israel. We appreciate it, and thank you so much for your insight. Again, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. And we will continue to follow the breaking news right now over Israel. We will continue to break it down for you. Coming up next here on Live Now from Fox with more. You are watching as we are covering breaking news on Live Now.